Necrobuster, Napalm Death is it gets called a political band.
Observation of what I see in others.
When you go camping, you get to see the Milky Way galaxy.
Punk rock type attitude too. We're just going to try to, gross you out with our music.
Yo, what's up? This is John from Noise Dosage Media, bringing you some of the most innovative and unique extreme metal musicians on air to have an in-depth conversation about things you probably didn't know until now. Before we unravel this episode, we want to bring attention to our driving force of visual creativity. Begrudgingly Benny creates one-of-a-kind creatures that you can't find anywhere else but below. His focus is on old-school style, slimy stippling that is budget-friendly for all bands or tattoo desired. Stay updated on the sludge by following at begrudgingly_Benny on Instagram. Withered Designs raises the dead with pen and ink and gives them new life with acidic color. Withered is eager to accompany your next album, merchandise, or zine with new, kick-ass, necromantic artwork. Keep up with the Horde by following him at withered_designs on Instagram. Thanks for tuning in, and let's dive into this. So do you happen to remember the moment when you guys realized that, it was time to start doing colors too, or?
It was just kind of an idea. I think it was actually Blake's idea. He was just like, we should do colors too. And we were like, yeah, we should. That'd be sick.
That's awesome.
Because, we understand what colors is to our fan base. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's kind of the record that broke us. Alaska was our first record with this lineup, but it wasn't who we are now. Whereas Colors was like our first truly like progressive metal record,
Right.
And people love that record, and it's obvious. When we did the 10-year anniversary tour, it was fucking crazy. When we did the Color stream, I think there was 40,000 people that watched that weekend. We obviously know that it's an important record for us and our fan base. So we were like, man, Tommy also was he was like, man, I'd like to not write a fucking novel this time and just, go by song.
Oh, really? Okay.
We just kind of wanted to take a break from like the big concept record thing for a second. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously that's our thing and like it's really cool, but I think we were just at the point where we were at a similar point where we were when we wrote Colors. We had just done Ozfest, which wasn't our crowd. It wasn't our vibe. And, we felt like we've got to write a fucking good record and we've got to really be balls to the wall and we got to be ourselves. And that's how Colors came out. And I think we were at a similar point with just, before the pandemic, touring had gotten a little stale for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think we were all kind of looking for inspiration everywhere else. We were just like, and then COVID happened and we kind of felt the exact same. We were like, man, we need to really write a killer record. And
yeah.
Just like, let's fucking really harness all the juices, man. And let's write one that's killer. And I think this may be our best record ever. So
best record ever. Okay. So my question off of that, I mean, you kind of answered it, but kind of didn't, like with this being so monumental in your band's like archives, did you feel any pressure putting the name Colors 2 on it?
No, not once we had the shit written, we were like, the only pressure I felt was to deliver and get really good takes and make sure that it sounded killer. And, I was very anal about my performance on the album. I wanted the solo takes and the texturizing stuff and the riffs to all just be like
Spot on.
You know, because you go back you go back over the years and you're like, I wish I would have done something different there, or I wish I would have used a different tone.
You're never happy. You're never happy.
Yeah, in this time, there's really nothing I would have done differently. You know, like I really, I think we all fucking killed ourselves on this one. You know.
Awesome.
So
perfect. That gets me stoked. So, you know, I think you answered this already, but I want to make sure. So, the first album was very cohesive, you know, as a whole. You know, so you're trying to take it song by song.
well, no, this one is also meant to be listened to as one piece.
Okay.
You know, it's colors too.
Right on.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm talking lyrically.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right.
Whereas, you know, Coma, Parallax, Coma, Automata were a story all the way through. Whereas Colors wasn't like that.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So this is a good one. You know, how do you decide like an album like that is like completed? Being a musician myself, like I'm never, like you said, you're never satisfied, but you finally like come to a conclusion of like, all right, this is done, you know.
We got to think, man. This is fucking, let's see, self-titled, Silent Circus, Alaska, Colors, Great Misdirect, Parallax 1, Parallax 2, Coma, Automata 1 and 2. This is the 11th studio record, not including the live releases, the cover record, the DVDs.
Right.
You know, you look at like Led Zeppelin and all these fucking, like all these huge bands throughout time. There's a lot of these Hall of Fame bands that have been around for fucking decades and they don't even have that many albums.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like we've got a lot of fucking albums. We've written a lot of music.
That's what I mean. Like I think the best thing about your band is like you don't, a lot of bands they sit on records for like 5 years and then by that time everybody's like burnt out, where you guys are just consistently pushing stuff out.
Well, also, and when you're kind of underground, man, you know, if you look at Dua Lipa, her record came out like over a year and a half ago, and she's on like her third single of the album.
That's what I mean. Like,
and they're gonna be bumping these singles for fucking 3 years on one album. And she's making tons of money and it's in commercials, and that's how commercial music is, man. They really spread that shit out. They'll beat it to fucking death. And it's not weird to your average listener because that's just how, you know what I mean? They're just used to it. That those songs are going to be played for fucking decades. You know, it's like the same reason you still hear Back in Black on the radio.
Oh yeah.
So, but with underground bands, you don't really have radio play. And also in today's climate, it's not like you're fucking selling albums. Everybody can pay $15 a month and you never have to buy an album again. You know, the bands are just doing it because they love it. You know, it's not like anybody's getting rich or whatever, but it's just different in our world, man. You know, you tour on a record for 2.5, 3 years tops, and it's time for something new. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just, I don't know. It's just how it is. And, you know, like people that like Between the Buried and Me, they're really into physical product. They're, you know, they're really into the story. They're like, you know, you get on our Reddit thread and people are like, hey, did you guys happen to notice that this pitch harmonic, it kind of was the same one from that record in 2004 or whatever? What's the connection here? You know what I mean? Like they're very brainy people, and we fucking love that shit. So I feel like people are just, we're all like musically ADD, and you know, like you just kind of have to keep going. You know, you kind of have to do something new. You can't wait that long. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. So off of being like ADD. Working with like complex arrangements for so many years, do you ever feel like you have to accommodate with others creatively? Being in a band, you're always, especially yours, you compose these songs and they're just so complex. Yeah. How do you go about that in a way that's everybody's getting like their voice out there?
Well, our records are usually pretty fucking long. And there's plenty of room. And, we have 5 people that are writing music. And I think that's kind of what makes up for there being so many genres of, music happening within one song. And we're never really fighting each other. Use my stuff. It's all about what the song calls for,
Mm-hmm.
So nothing is too weird, obviously. Fuck, we got bluegrass parts, we got polka parts, we got animals, we got fucking, we got like, horns and fucking big band shit. And, we like music, man. We really, really fucking like music. And everyone listens to different music. Everyone has different backgrounds. And my whole point with saying how many records we have now is it's become, I'm not going to say it's become an easy process because we have standards, but it's become natural. You know what I mean? And
Right.
even as being as specific as we're in the studio this record, and Dan and Paul look at me and go, "Hey man, this section's kind of calling for a Dusty solo. You should do something here." Or you know what I mean? Or something like that. Like or I'll be like, "Paul, this section's more your style, man. You should rip something here." Like we just know. We've been making music together for so fucking long now.
Yeah.
It's
exactly.
it's just natural, man. You know what I mean?
So something new with your band is the cartoon music videos. I want to know like who animated it and what got you like this idea to branch out into that. I've seen a few bands do it, but not to the extent of what Fix the Error was.
I am actually a dickhead and don't remember his name, but
No, you're all right.
but he is really, really good, as we can tell. And he worked his ass off on that. I can't imagine the amount of hours he put into drawing and creating all that. But everyone, with metal bands and shit, man, typically like you just got a bunch of dudes in a fucking warehouse. You know what I mean? And it's kind of the same old shit. And
the music video with the warehouse. Yep.
You know what I mean? It's just like there's a lot of that. We've had a lot of those.
Mm-hmm.
Even my other band, our only video, we were in a fucking warehouse. But we just wanted something different. This record is different. It's very, very different. There's all the elements of BTBAM that the fans love. There's something for everyone on this one, and there's new shit we've never done. So we, Fix the Error, even though it sounds like BTBAM, and it definitely sounds like the same band that wrote Colors. There's still that whole like new like kind of gospel metal element to it. You know what I mean? And that was just kind of the perfect song to do that. And it was an idea that was kind of pitched to us, and we were like, yeah, fuck yeah, that'd be awesome. And Blake's idea to have all those drum solos from the cameos, and it was also his idea to have them film themselves when they recorded it.
Mm-hmm.
Blake had a lot of really killer ideas on this one.
Blake's the man.
Yeah, he's a real dickhead, but he had some good ideas on this one. But yeah, man. So I think we're all like super, super happy with how it came out.
Are you gonna do more of them in the future? Do you think?
I don't know.
Oh shoot. Okay. So a heavy one that a lot of my friends told me to ask you was, first riff or song contribution you made with the band.
First riff I ever wrote was the beginning of Backwards Marathon, and I wasn't even in the band yet. I was filling in for them on Converge Cave-In tour. And me and Paul were in Austin, Texas, sitting on a bench at Emo's, and I played him that riff, and he liked it. He was like, "That's fucking really cool."
You're in the band.
And yeah, that was my first BTBAM riff I ever wrote. Was the beginning of Backwards. That, like, I listened to a lot of Decapitated back then, and it kind of reminded me of Decapitated or something.
That's sweet. I couldn't think back to anything that I write like years. I have to record anything. So,
I remember every riff I ever wrote, man. Every part I ever wrote. If I listen to the music, I know what I wrote. And that's the cool thing about my band is you can kind of tell.
Yeah, everyone's
once
pretty,
you know
distinctive.
everyone's style, you can pick out who's playing what lead, who wrote what part. Obviously it's easy for me because I know my guys, but once you know each member's style and their writing style, you can totally tell who wrote what.
Yeah. So I got 4 more topics to hit you with. One, with you coming back into the life of getting on the road, touring, and all that jazz. I'm kind of curious on your answer to the biggest toll you think, something that people wouldn't expect. I've heard so many things of like, oh, not getting enough sleep, not being healthy, but maybe something that you wouldn't think of.
Just in touring in general?
Yeah.
Flying fucking sucks, and
You're not a fan?
no, I fucking hate flying, and especially international touring sucks because you have to slim down your rig and use a lot of rental shit.
Mm-hmm.
And when you've been, musicians are kind of quirky, weird people, and they're not good with change. And, it's like athletes, they have to have the same, how many times do you watch a guy come up to the plate in baseball and he's like fucking doing this weird OCD thing where he has to unhook his glove 17 times?
Yeah.
And you're like, will you fucking hit the ball already? Jesus.
Yeah.
It's like that. And, you're playing through some gear that was provided that, half the time it sounds like dog shit, and you're not getting any fucking rest. But you still have to go out and perform and do your best. And, it's not like you're playing 311 songs, it's fucking really, really hard shit. And especially for Blake, being a drummer and having no sleep, showing up, you're flying into the shows every day, and every single day he's got to rehead a drum set and tune it.
Oh man.
Every day. And then when we get done, he's got to take his heads off of the fucking thing and pack it back up. And then you do that every single day. You know what I mean? So it's
rough.
It's
I would
tough.
never choose to be a drummer. Like,
no, hell no.
I respect it, but at the same time, like, there's no way in hell I would want to do that.
I mean, if you're fucking Lars or Taylor Hawkins, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, you just bring a roadie. You just bring somebody.
You just have your sticks and literally just show up.
Yeah. Have you ever had any issues with broken guitars or anything crazy like that on a flight?
No.
Knock
on wood, no. I've had shit happen, like a part break. The last tour we did actually was it ended in March of 2020, and we did Australia to Mexico to Central America to South America. And I remember I had 2 guitars, and in a Floyd Rose, you have these, hold on. You have these little plastic blocks in the bridge that when you tighten this down to hold the string in, there's a little block that moves forward to lock the
you're
string
talking
in.
about the little squares that you always lose when you're taking
Yeah,
the
it's called a
strings
saddle
out.
block.
Saddle blocks,
And
yeah.
one of mine fucking broke as I was
Dude, those are a
restringing.
pain in the ass to find too.
Well, now I buy extra. I have like a bag of extras now, but it broke before the show, and I was like, "Fuck," you know. So I had to take a string off my backup and steal the block from it, and just hope nothing happened to my main guitar. And then we end up in Costa Rica, and this kid, I was like asking, it was a kid that was working the venue, and I was asking him if he could go to a guitar store and find those for me. And he's like, no, we don't have any, but I'll bring you. He brought me like 4 off of his Ibanez and just gave them to me. And I was like, are you sure? He was like, yeah, fuck it, here. So I just threw him in my like bag of picks, and it was fine. But
what a good dude. He saved
yeah,
the day.
he was killer. He was a killer guy. But
damn,
that was pretty much it. Paul broke a guitar on Ozfest. I remember that.
he broke one like
Yeah,
on stage.
we had just gotten them. We each got our first custom built guitar, and it was the second show. And Ozfest was such a shit show, man. Like you literally have no time to go up there and set up, have it be like, "Yo, I need to hear this. I need to hear this. I need to hear this." And we barely got through the show because like all the levels were fucked up, and like, Paul's over there trying to play all this crazy shit, and it's just like,
sounds like noise.
Yeah, like kick drums, like, and he can't hear his guitar, and like bass is going brrr through the monitor, and he got off stage and just kind of like dropped his guitar down, and the fucking headstock flew off, the bridge just went boosh, flew out of it. He was just like, oh, fuck. We've been on ears since 07, and the only thing, we don't sample vocals or guitars or anything. The only thing that you'll hear that's not being played is like, the symphonic stuff, like horns and
But but I mean, like you guys do pianos and stuff live too, so. But
yeah, we got 2. Dan plays piano.
But I mean, like, just in general, like being on those big tours and then them trying to rush the sound. Oh, I feel like it could be a nightmare real quick.
Yeah, sound is our number one priority, man. We're not up there jumping around, jumping off shit. When you come to see us, we want it to sound like the record. So that's like a huge priority to us. And, it's, before a tour, there's contracts sent out. And it's like, hey, we need fucking peanut butter. We need water. You'd
be like Van Halen.
We need to be able to load in. We need this amount of time to make sure everything works.
Yeah. Van Halen, they I don't know if you know this, but they put in their contract that the brown M&Ms, they did that on purpose because they wanted people to make sure that they know that the contract was read.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't.
And they would trash rooms and shit like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the athletes, like when in that movie Draft Day, when they wanted to know if the players read the playbook, they would put like $100 bill in the very back of it.
Yeah.
To see if they read it or not.
So the 3 last things I got is when relearning like old material, do you tend to get frustrated with yourself, just trying to backtrack, and just how does that all go down?
That is an ironic question because that is exactly what my life is right now. Normally, I don't know why, but normally I'm the guy that like never forgets. Like I always remember all the music. Mm-hmm. And like I have a very easy time going back and getting old stuff tight because like for some reason it's just kind of always stored. But for this particular set list, it's so fucking gnarly, and we haven't played Swim to the Moon since 2010 probably. And there's parts of that song when I first listened to it that I didn't even remember not only playing, but I didn't remember ever hearing. I was like, what the fuck is that? I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
So, and you know, we didn't have tabs for it. So we literally had to slow down the song. Like we had to like get the Pro Tools files and slow the shit down and be like, what is that?
Overanalyze it.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. But especially that song. Jesus, so much shit going on. So long and but you know, we have tabs for most of our stuff. You know, Paul's done a bunch of the tab books for the record. So typically, you know, you can just reference a tab file and be like, you know, figure out what that riff is or whatever, that lick. And but I'd say Swim to the Moon has been the one was a real doozy, you know.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting, man. I've never heard somebody like literally slow down the BPM to figure something out. I think that just goes to show you how many notes is in every riff.
Dude, I'd be interested to know how many notes we're going to be playing on this tour. Like, it has to be something just outrageous, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
You're gonna have to
but,
get
like,
those what the hell? It's like a string lube. You're gonna have to like before every show just lube it up, man.
oh yeah, I mean, I guarantee you we'll have to have our tech changing strings a lot, you know. I mean, it's a lot of music, dude. It's a lot of material, a lot of shit going on. And yeah, it's gonna be. It took a ton of work, and we've taken it super seriously. And you know, I really, we're all hoping that everything goes all right and everything is safe, and that the fans are just, you know, this has been such a fucking hard last
Yeah. I
over a
I was
year
gonna ask
for
you how
everyone,
that's
man.
been for you, but without making it long and drawn out. Just in general, how has that been with music?
Oh, it was terrible.
Yeah.
It was really hard for a long time, and you know, luckily we got into action, man. We were just like, we're not gonna sit around and fucking gloat and just wait on all this bullshit to go away. So we're gonna we're gonna start writing this record because we were gonna do the tour May of 2020 and then start writing. So we just flopped it.
Gotcha.
So we started writing and we recorded and we came up. You know, we made this record that we're extremely proud of, and yeah, we just put all our energy into that, man. And then we were like, we'll worry about touring whenever it looks realistic. And as time went, they were like, well, it's looking really good for this time. It seems like with vaccination rates and blah 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 that it looks like it's doable and it'll be safe. And that's where we are, man. So we're just, you know, we're very grateful to have the opportunity to do our jobs and hang out together, man. I mean, fuck, this is the longest we've gone without seeing each other since the band, just everyone got in the band, you know?
Right.
It's the longest I've been home since high school.
Wow.
I'm 36 years old now. So,
wow. Okay.
It's BTBAM's always toured a lot, man. So it definitely threw us for a loop and we had to improvise and try to stay mentally healthy and physically healthy and you know, just did everything we could do, man, to stay sane. And you know, we're just looking forward to getting out there and playing music, man.
Yeah, man. So the last thing, I'm going to be at the Rochester or Syracuse show. Friends going to the Toronto show. And the last thing I have,
All the Canada shows were canceled.
Oh, the Canada shows are canceled, so you're coming to Syracuse, Alex. Oh, or Cleveland. So the last thing, you don't have to give us away, but how did you decide which songs to play for this upcoming tour? Even just a hint would be cool.
Well, I mean, obviously, Great Misdirect is being played, but The first set, we just thought about what songs people would be stoked on and what stuff we haven't, there's some stuff we haven't really played ever. And there's some stuff that is in high demand that's not really played. And, this tour is for fans.
Okay.
It's not for us, So, this is like our way of giving back to everyone that has supported the band for so long. You've given us a career and a life in music beyond anything we could have ever expected, being a bunch of hardcore kids from some redneck state, So, yeah, this is all for all of you guys, man. So the set list kicks balls, and I know that people are going to be fired up about it. So,
Glass Casket, where are we at with that project?
there's a few songs, man. But like it's hard. I get asked this literally every day of my life. But
He said every day of his life he gets asked.
But it's it's not like you can go online and publicly be like, hey guys, the record label we were on doesn't exist anymore, and now Sony owns the fucking shit.
Oh,
And
wow.
it takes years to talk to these fucking people because they're in Germany and ask, hey, can we re-release the music?
Mhm.
Hey, are we allowed to release a record without you guys? Hey, what is the deal? Where does shit stand? And they take forever to get back. You got to spend money. You have to fucking do all this shit as a business and
Yeah.
fill out forms and open accounts and blah, 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 just to be able to put out an album. So, I mean, it takes a lot of time,
Right on.
And Alluvial just had a record come out. We're having a record come out. So it's going to happen. The music that we have written fucking rules, but it's not up to us right now. We're having to wait on rich people that wear suits,
Yeah. Well, that's sweet. Well, now I got to answer. People are like, you got to ask this question. You got to ask this question. The music is sick.
Yeah.
It's really good. So I'm looking forward to that. So
Yeah, and there's a lot of pressure on us too, man, because shit, dude, like our first record we wrote and recorded when we were 15, 16 years old. So, and the second one, I guess we were like, let's see, we were like 22 years old, and now we're in our mid 30s. So, we got to put out something that sounds like the band, but also isn't something that our child selves would have written.